Hello, welcome back to Healing with Ben. This is episode 4 with Khloe Gaynor. I love Khloe and I think you will too. We talk manifestation, emotions, and embodying your dream life. Hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. There's so much, I feel like, right, I've got a decent following online, and right now I'm just abusing my following to speak to people who I fucking love the content of. You got engaged very recently, and I want to say, firstly, congratulations. I want to say that you must be living on cloud nine, but you look that way in every single one of your videos. So, congratulations. How are you? And for the people who maybe don't know you, who are you? I'll let you do a little bit of talking to introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I think this is such a fun opportunity to get to chat and talk about my favorite things in the world, which is manifesting, mindset, all the good things. Yes, I did just get engaged 2 weeks ago now, which is so crazy. I am absolutely on cloud nine, but what I will say is I have been preparing for this moment of this era of my life that I'm in, and it feels only natural to be stepping into it in such a stride. But to introduce myself, my name's Chloe. I'm the founder of a manifesting app called Copia, also a content creator that preaches all things mindset manifesting. And I'm personally on a mission to inspire anyone that I meet that they can achieve anything they put their minds to. So that is what I'm doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think, right, from, I don't want to say my childhood, but yes, my childhood, and the line of work that I'm in, I'm a very good judge of character. So to see your videos, there is no cracks. You can see that you are actually authentically living the life that you preach. And when I started this journey of manifesting 5 years ago, I would get pissed off at myself where I'd have a great day, things were going well, things were flowing in. One little hiccup would happen, and then I'm like, shit, I'm back down. So I would get pissed off that I'm not 24/7 high vibe. So, two questions, I guess. Do you have any advice, any tips on how to get up there before we dive any deeper? How to get to your energy, and then maybe this is something easy and natural for you, but how the fuck do you stay there? And do we need to stay there all day?
Well, first, I will say you will not stay there all day. It is natural as humans to feel emotions, and it's actually a good thing that you can feel your emotions. If you are angry, sad, mad, whatever that feeling is, it's good that you can feel that. The first thing when I started my journey of manifestation, I started back when I was about 12 years old. I'm 26 now. So I kind of joke and say, like, oh, but if I've been doing it that long, you'd think I'd have everything I want by now. And I don't. And I think it's because as humans, it's not innately within us to constantly think about our goals. And there's all these imbalances, and I'll get into it later because that's why I actually built Copia. But what I will say about when you're having a good day and you're like, let's say you see one of my videos and you're like, okay, I'm gonna start by waking up and say that this is gonna be the best day of my life. 15 minutes in, you get a text from your boss that like totally sets you off or whatever that is. The first thing to do is just identify that emotion. Okay, I'm angry right now. Why am I angry? And just analyze, because I think a lot of the times as humans, we just go and then we let the emotions take over and then we lose control. And that loss of control, I think, is where people then get really frustrated and feel like, oh, I'm not getting closer to my goal. And now the day's ruined. You could restart a day at any point. I just got a comment on one of my videos this morning that I responded to saying that you can restart at any point. There's no one saying that this one thing has now ruined your day and now you have a bad day. That's you thinking that. So the first thing you need to do is just identify that emotion and analyze, why am I feeling this? Why did this set me off? How can I respond in a way that's actually going to benefit me? Because the three things you can't control are your thoughts, emotions, and your reactions or actions. So focus on what you can control in that instance. You couldn't control that your boss necessarily texted you something that pissed you off, but you can control how you are going to move forward from that. And that's how I think you can turn those negative emotions into positive ones.
Mhm. I It's something that I teach. I think I might have had it from Tony Robbins, but it's what am I feeling? Why am I feeling? Can I do anything about it? How do I want to feel? And what can I do right now to get closer to that feeling? I think that's what I fucked myself up previously is I'd feel a bad emotion, even if it was like grief, let alone anger. And I'd be like, nope, I can't have that because then I'm going to manifest the bad stuff. And I would just suppress it without allowing it to come up. But like you said, we are humans. Something else, you said that if you've been doing it this time, you should have everything you want. But I always say to myself, whether it's the blueprint of life, right, without diving too deep into spirituality, it's if I manifested every single thing that I could possibly want today, tomorrow, then the rest of my life I would have to try and manifest more things. I think this is the fucking journey itself. Does that make sense?
Totally, totally. And something that I've learned through mentors of mine is that practicing is becoming. So, practicing these emotions, practicing manifesting, and all of these things is the journey. And you have to fall in love with that. Otherwise, like you just said, if I snap my fingers and have everything I want tomorrow, how is that actually going to affect me? Like how would I respond to that? Okay, then what the rest of my life is just because I think we're on a constant journey of ascension, growth, learning, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah. I think even outside of manifestation, a lot of people say, what does healed look like? How do I know when I'm healed? And I always say that I don't think it exists. I think healing is a doing word. It's even if you heal from your trauma, you heal from regardless, 100%, you take a fucking magic pill, it's still a continuous journey and you still dive into other aspects of your life. For me, I think I have ADHD. So when I want to manifest, I come up with this great plan and then I'll forget. And years ago, I knew I wanted to be more present, more spiritual. So I had like tattoos on my thumbs. I was working in a factory at the time, so I would like pick orders for supermarkets. And whenever something would piss me off, I knew that I could look at my hands would be in front of me and it would be a reminder. And I'd forget I had the tattoos. So something you talk about, which I think I've unintentionally done, is detachment and how you detach from your goals to attract them. Can you share some about that, please?
Yeah. So something you had mentioned earlier is the law of attraction of what you think and feel is what you attract, which on a scientific level is true. Your thoughts and emotions are energy, which creates an energy field around you, which attracts to you what you are emitting. But there is something about the law of assumption, the law of detachment. So there's a bit of a difference here of, and I'll get into them a little bit. Assuming is believing, regardless of what you're feeling and thinking, you believe and know that what you want is coming to you. And detaching is knowing that you assume everything's coming to you, but you don't know exactly how it's going to look in the end, but you let go of that. So I did my thing. Sometimes I get my notifications. Did you get a noise thing? Or are you
No,
good?
no, 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 it's fine, man. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, sorry. Okay, so going back into detachment though, the way that I describe this, and this is the way that it's responded best with my audience, is that you go to order something online, right? I'm gonna order this shirt that I've had my eyes on for months. I've wanted it for so long. I place that order. Okay, so I believe and I know that that order is coming to me. I don't know who's gonna drive it. I don't know who's, the tracker. I'm not checking every 5 minutes and maybe it says that it's coming on Tuesday. Oh, and then it gets pushed to Friday. Okay, that's fine. I know it's still coming to me. It may be left outside my door. It may be left out in the garage by where my mailbox is. I don't know exactly where it's going to be or how it's going to get there, but I know it's going to get there. And that is detaching. So I'm not sitting there texting the driver, calling UPS, checking every 5 minutes. I know that it's coming to me.
Mhm.
And that's how you have to walk through life with assuming and detaching. Imagine that you have everything you want. You want to be sitting here obsessing and thinking, oh my gosh, okay, like I really want this, house in Laguna. No, I'm in the house in Laguna. Like I'm here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I fuck myself up. I do that, right? But I collect a lot of figures and I pay a lot of money and they come from like the US and from Hong Kong. So when I do order them, I am always immediately checking the tracking and checking when they're going to arrive, when they're in customs. And that just causes delays. Every single time, there's always a delay. Um,
Yeah.
when I about the not focusing on the specifics really helped me when I started my TikTok or just before I started TikTok. We were
Mhm.
on government benefits. We were really struggling, and I'm a big fan of affirmations. And one of my affirmations was people can't stop giving me money because I wanted it to be not specific because I know that I would my wife especially I know that me personally I would focus on the how. So if I was
Mhm.
like business is booming, I didn't have a business, so that wouldn't make sense to me. So people couldn't stop giving me
Yeah.
money, and then out of nowhere, I created a TikTok page, then was inundated with clients completely unintentionally. The next question I have for you, and maybe that's you're unable to answer if you started this at 12, but do you think there was a turning point for you where you thought, you know what, I actually fucking deserve the world and I'm going to get it? Or how the fuck wait at 12 I was playing Pokemon, right? And I still do at nearly 30. What was the moment for you where you thought I can create whatever the fuck I want?
Yeah. So I give a lot of credit to my mom, who is the person who gave me the book The Secret, which, if you have not read that, we'll get you a copy. It essentially was one of the first books that talked about the law of attraction. I think it's by Rhonda Byrne. Yes. I try to re-listen to it like once a year because it's a very foundational book, I think, that introduces manifesting, the law of attraction, and just the power of your mind. So at 12, I read this book and I remember thinking, wow, I can create my reality with my thoughts. I remember thinking that. So I've always known that. I've always had this kind of, and maybe even before that, innate feeling that I can have anything I want. But like anyone and most people, I get surrounded by societal pressures, norms, following what you think is going to look good on paper. I absolutely did that. But I will say in the past year, since I really like tapped back into my spiritual journey, which has led me to Copia, I basically woke up one day and just I knew I've always known I was meant for more. But I had a day where I was just like, okay, I'm in a job I hate. I don't like how I feel in my skin. I don't like the people I've surrounded myself with. How have I forgotten this? How did I forget this? If I was someone who was so intentional, how did I forget this? And I think it's because a lot of us do. So I really just started to take small steps every single day. And I actually read a book by her name's Heather Bobber, and it's The Science Behind Spirituality. I read that book, I think last August, and I have meditated every single day since. So first I credit reading a book that just light bulb went off in my brain. The second is that I started meditating every single day. And I truly think when people are like, oh, I love your energy, you're glowing, you're this meditating, hands down. Um, but going back to what I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, I re-identified my values. I've always had a very strong sense of authenticity and alignment being really, really important to me. And once I identified those, and even thinking about how I showed up on social media, I let go of how I felt I was being perceived. I stepped into and I embodied what an aligned and authentic person feels, looks, and acts like. And that is now my life. So meditating and leaning into my values were two of the biggest things that I think unlocked everything for me, and truly embodying and knowing, because you cannot always look at your current reality and be like, okay, this is that. You have to be delusional in a sense of like, I know what I want and I believe that it's on its way to me. I detach from the how, but I'm still going to act and show up as this person who has all of the things I want. And as soon as I did that, my first TikTok video that I did, gosh, a few months ago now, 2 million views. Like the first time I did that, where I was like, I'm just letting go of everything, I was instantly rewarded. Mind you, it took me years to get to that point, but it's that idea of truly embodying, leaning into my values of authenticity and alignment, and practicing mindfulness through meditating and visualization every single day. So that was a long answer, but I hope that
No, no, no,
answers what you
please.
were asking.
It wasn't long enough. You need to do tours. I could sit and listen to you for hours. There's so much I want to unpack there. That's you saying you were given that book. That's a life I want for my kids, right?
Yes.
Where
Yep.
our fourth child is due in like 2 or 3 months. That's the life I want for my kids.
Oh,
Thank
congrats.
you. And Lydia, who I had on my podcast last week or the week before, she said the same thing. She was
Mutuals with her.
oh, really
We
amazing.
follow each other on TikTok. Yeah, I was listening to that.
Amazing. I'll send her a message after this. She was given the book The Secret too. So for
Great.
me, I had that innate feeling too. When I was in school, people were like, "I'm gonna go and be a plumber. I'm gonna do this." And I was like, "What the fuck? I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna go to uni and be an actor. Like I'm gonna make this is my world." But I didn't have a great childhood, and I believe we all believe whatever our parents tell us. But two things that I was told as a child that stuck and I guess manifested. Firstly, my grandfather said, you can do what you want, Ben. What I have to say for you is no matter what you set your mind to, you will achieve. And he said it as if you do crazy fucking things, but you still do it. And my mother always said, you will fall in shit. I don't know if this is a worldwide term. She'd say, you'd fall in shit and come out smelling of roses. So I always believed that whenever things were going bad, it would always work out. So those were the things that I sort of took with me to believe that ended up being good. But for the limiting beliefs that are not very fucking nice, do you have any tips on how to remove them altogether? Like you said, before you posted that first video, when you started meditating, how did you drop the limiting beliefs?
Yeah. So one thing I'll say about the falling in shit and smelling like roses reminds me a lot of, so in my past life, I was a personal trainer, and you have to feel weak to get strong. You feel like so weak. And it's the hardest part of getting stronger is that weakness and the working on it. And I think that's what that kind of at least relates to in my brain. It's like you might have to go through some shit, but you will always come out stronger and better. So I think that's like universal in, I haven't heard it in that way, but I do love that. And then you had also said something about healing, right? And I'll have to send you a copy of the book by Heather Bobber, Science Behind Spirituality. Seriously changed my life. But that book, she talks about how our purpose as humans is to heal from everything that we've been through and then to help others heal, which I think that's exactly what you're doing with your mission, which is so beautiful. Because from there, we then raise our vibrational frequency and help to raise the collective consciousness vibrational frequency. So that I think as like spiritual people, we align with that so much. And that's a huge part of my mission. Um, but going through the self-limiting beliefs, right? We all have them. I still have them. I was literally journaling last night about the things that I have, and I was doing EFT tapping this morning about the doubts that I still have. You can be so advanced in your spiritual journey or whatever that looks like and still have these things come up because we are constantly healing. We are constantly evolving. Few things I will say to that. One, I actually love my app Copia that I built to address these self-limiting beliefs. I built an app with the intention in mind of helping to rewire the way that we talk to ourselves. So rewire our subconscious to be able to improve our self-concept and to then manifest things easily and effortlessly. So every single day there's emotion tracking, there's journaling prompts that I love to do, whether I do it in my phone or I will journal it out. We are coming out with custom meditations as well. So to be able to listen, like I'm at a high anxious point right now, I'm about to hop on a meeting, whatever that looks like. Can I pop in this 3-minute meditation that is made just for me that knows all of the things that I'm dealing with right now? Beautiful. That is something to help overcome those self-limiting beliefs that, again, are inevitable. Another thing I love doing is EFT tapping. I I think that is also something that has absolutely changed my life. And we will be including that in Copia of custom EFT tapping sessions to be able to tap into the energy points that you feel anxiety or self doubt or whatever. For me, it's a lot of it is anxiety, as you can probably tell. Um, Tapping into those and addressing. Because with EFT tapping, you address the things that are bothering you, the self limiting beliefs, the doubts, put them out there. Most of the time, people won't even address them. You said it earlier, you would repress, you would put those things down. You didn't want to feel those things. Identify it, put it out there. That is step one. And then the second step is to then call in all of the good things coming your way. So for me, it was able to do that twofold approach of, okay, I'm identifying what's bothering me, and now I'm calling in the good things that I know I deserve. So the combination of journaling, I'd say using Copia, EFT tapping, those are my two biggest things that have actually helped me to overcome my self-limiting beliefs.
Again, so much to unpack. I've one of my notes here is to talk more about the app in depth. But firstly, you said in your past life, in a previous life, you were a personal trainer. Do you mean actual previous life or just a few years ago?
A year ago.
Right. Okay. I didn't know if you had to have another fucking conversation then on top. We'll get to the app. I have downloaded it. I got to the first part. I still downloaded it. I haven't taken it further. I put my story and they give me a story about my favorite cars. We'll get into it later.
I'll give you an access code. Don't worry.
Oh no, please. And EFT tapping. I've never tried it. Everyone tells me to.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
never tried it.
I had such an aversion to it like a year ago. I don't know why. My mom always told me like, "Go, do it, do it." And I almost always listened to my mom's advice because she's inspired me so much. But I didn't want to do the tapping. I don't know why. I was just like, like this seems weird. Like I don't really like, truthfully, this is me being totally transparent. And I just tried it one day. I looked up a Brad Yates YouTube, which he's like an icon in the tapping world. And I was like, okay, let me just sort of see how this is. And things just began to unlock for me. And then Haley Hoffman Smith is someone you should try to get her on. She
Her
talks
book is.
all of
I have Haley. Please, her book is right here. I've just finished her book. I love Haley too.
amazing. And I'll have to introduce you to my friends at Inspired Delusions because they are super into this. Olivia and Kama, they were the ones too who like continued to encourage me because I was like, I think it's working. And they're like, yeah, it's working. Like it always works. And it's that idea of it truly there are energy frequencies there for sure. You just have to try it. That's right. Look up either one of like Haley's videos, Brad Yates. There's so many good resources out there. And it can be as short as 5 minutes or however long. Like it's whatever you need. And I think that's what I liked about it because it's also something kind of physical as compared to meditating, right? Where you're sitting there trying to practice that like stillness. I liked the tapping aspect because I'm a very physical, active person. And that there wasn't, I stopped doing scripted, or I'll do scripted sometimes, but I like the idea that I could just make it whatever I wanted. And I think sometimes with meditating, my mind starts to go a lot of different places. So I used to have an aversion, but now I do it every single day.
I will have to try. I tried getting back into meditating. Meditating is something that helped me. It was 2.5 years since I started TikTok, and like I said, no money. And I said to my wife, "Give me 1 hour a night. I will meditate for half an hour. Then I'll do my affirmations and I'll do my visualization." And I said, "I want you to look for a place in Spain." I said, "We'll go and spend 3 months." And she was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? We have no money." It worked. We did 3 months in Spain, but um, where the fuck was I gonna go with that? Meditating. I tried getting back into meditating this week, and I bought one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations. I don't know if you ever tried that. I just fucking couldn't get into it, so then I stopped. So I'll have to get back into it. I'm just stupidly busy, especially we homeschool 3 kids, which is probably
Oh.
that's probably just an excuse too, because if I check the scrolling time on my phone, I probably have time to meditate. Something I want to talk about is the law of assumption, but to mix it in with the limiting beliefs as well. We bought a dream house, right? We're waiting this week for our completion date, and it didn't feel real. So it was 2 months ago, we put the mortgage application in, and it went on for like 6 weeks, and it was a 5% deposit. So I was like, if we get in 5% deposit, we'll have so much money, we can get all the furniture, we get all the carpets done. But I didn't feel like I deserved it. It didn't feel like that house belonged to me. 6 weeks later, it got rejected. So we went again, and it was a 10% deposit. It's the only one they would accept. And I was like, if we go in, we're not going to be able to get all the stuff we want, and maybe I'll be stressing about bills. But because I believed that about me, the mortgage got approved. I believe that I will be in the house but stressed. So we're waiting for the date now. So for people who have heard me talk about manifestation or heard people talk about the law of attraction, maybe it's not on their radar, the law of assumption. I know you spoke about it briefly. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what it is, please?
Yes. So the law of attraction is what I think and feel I attract. So that's thinking and feeling. Law of assumption is what I believe to be true is true. So it's belief as compared to thinking. And that I would say, like, very simply, is the biggest difference. But assumption and like the law of assumption, you don't wait for signs. You decide accordingly. You decide and then act accordingly. And I do use both. I use both, but I would say, because I mentioned it earlier, law of assumption or law of attraction on a scientific level is real. And the law of assumption community, I feel like they sometimes come for me because I'm like, I had to work pretty hard to get what I wanted. And for law of assumption, it's very much like ease, effortlessness. It should just flow to you. And I find that I'm in that boat, but it did take me, I had to see my belief did take action. I had to act on the things that I wanted in order to start to see things happen. Whereas law of assumption is very like, no matter what I'm thinking, feeling, and doing, I'm getting what I want, which is great. Like, we should think that way. But I was someone who fell in the boat of, I did feel the need that I had to attract a little bit to get that momentum.
Hmm. I think it's Feeling is the Secret. It's one of my favorite books, by Neville Goddard. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Let's talk about your app. And I wrote
Yes.
Copia, then I crossed it out, and I thought, what if it's Copia? And then I sound like a dick. So I just wrote app. So like I said, I downloaded it myself, and when it gives you back the story with the specifics to it, I fucking loved it. And then the app is
Yeah.
there now. I didn't take it any further because, again, my life. But for the people who haven't heard about it, what can you tell us about your app?
Yeah, so Copia, meaning abundance in Latin, is meant to do just that. It is an app that is meant to help you to rewire your subconscious and to manifest the life of your dreams. It has been so special building this because I mentioned I started meditating back in August of last year. 2 weeks later, my now co-founder texted me, "Hey, are you into manifesting?" And I said, yes, I'm currently listening to a manifesting podcast. I like have the text. It was the most kismet type of thing. So we started thinking about this idea of how can we make it easy for people to manifest? How can we make it so that they see the best version of themselves and we can give them the steps and resources to get there? And so that's exactly what we built. We launched March 3rd. We've had over 35,000 downloads. We have over 50,000 followers, and we started working on this technically in January. So to us, that was even a signal of like, okay, people want something like this. But really, when you go into the app, we are actively, we change things almost daily. I will tell you that right now. We are in a hyper growth stage of being able to support more people coming onto the platform and changing it as our users evolve and seeing what they use the most. And then we change the app to that. But at its core, it is meant to help you to change the way you think and feel about yourself and what you believe to be true about yourself to then improve the way that you show up to the rest of the world. So you come in, you tell us all your biggest hopes and dreams. You tell us self-limiting doubts or anything you feel that might be holding you back. We give you a day in the life of that future version of yourself who has everything you could ever want. And then we're starting. Sorry, I'm busy. Sorry, that's my stepmom. Um, where was I? Oh, so then we give you daily rituals every single day, outlining affirmations custom to you, reaffirming your goals and dreams, reading your dream life. We are going to be introducing mind movies, with which as Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about a lot. We're going to start including all aspects of visualization into our platform, including meditation, EFT tapping, subliminals, all of these resources so that you find you have everything that you need in order to manifest in the palm of your hand, because we all live on our phones, as we know. Um, and it's been really impactful. It's been really beautiful. I get messages every single day from people telling me how much they feel a physical and like emotional change within themselves from using this platform. Okay. Thank you. They really wanted to give me a green juice. Can you tell that my family is a green juice family? I love that. Um, Sorry about that.
No, I don't apologize.
But
Thank you for sharing.
yes,
I
yes.
love it. I love it. I love everything you do, and like I said, your energy is infectious. I find myself, I could find a hilarious video on my phone, and the most I will do is this. But when I see your videos, I'm like, it's like a magnet. So thank you so much for your time. I got two questions for you.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could have a short conversation with your 10-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh my gosh, I could actually cry. I could actually cry. I do a lot of work with like thinking about the younger version of myself, right? And I actually have a video on my phone that I was going to post today, kind of talking about that. But oh my gosh, I would tell her I love her, which that would be healing in and of itself. And I would just tell her to keep going and that it's true. I can do anything I put my mind to. And I think that's it. Because I wouldn't want to overwhelm her because I think 10-year-old me was pretty stressed out, even for a 10-year-old. But I would tell her that everything's going to happen exactly as it's supposed to and even better than I could ever even imagine.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Second question. What is a truth that you live by today that you didn't believe 5 years ago?
Ooh, what is a truth that I believe by today that I didn't believe 5 years ago? Maybe, have you read The Four Agreements?
Yes. By
Okay.
Paulo something? Oh,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
So, yes, I that immediately is what came to mind for me because I brought it years ago, but I don't think I truly understood the impact of what these agreements are, which the first is be true to your word. And I think maybe that's almost something that I would think back to that I wasn't actively practicing of being true to your word is essentially that anything you say out loud and anything that is said to you, if you believe it, it's true. So it's even down to, like if someone gossips about you and they're like, oh, like, well, she's so lame. And it's like, if I believe that, then I think I'm lame. But if I don't believe that, that is not my truth. So I think being able to know that I have complete and total control over my truth because the other three agreements are what is it? Stay true to your word. Don't take anything personally. That was a big one. Don't assume anything and always try your best. So I think the staying true to my word and actually believing that anything I say and believe can actually happen. As much as I wanted to believe that, I don't think I was actively practicing that up until really like a year ago. So knowing that your thoughts and your words actually truly hold so much weight. And even when it's, you're joking about like, oh, well, I messed this up and I'm such a loser, like that can manifest itself. And I still, I'm not like so strict with myself, but I think I became more aware of that of wait, why am I being self-deprecating? I don't have to do that. Why do I have to do that to try to make the people around me laugh when it's actually only hurting me, even if it was in jest? So long way of saying, I think staying true to your word is something that I actually really started to practice and lock in on in this past year.
Good answer. Good answer. I I am just, I could sit here for hours, but I'll let you get on with the rest of your day. I think this is going to be an amazing video and help a lot of people. But where can they find you? Where can they download your app? Where can they see what you have to offer?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Khloe Gaynor. My TikTok is Khloe Gaynor with two E's. And then my Copia page is manifest.copia, COPIA, on both Instagram and TikTok. We are available in the App Store for download. Be sure to go check us out, and maybe we can get you a fun access code for your listeners to get some free access. But we do have a 7-day free trial. So go ahead, check it out. And yeah, this was so fantastic.
Thank you so much for your time.